I was a freshman in high school when Jurassic Park came out in the summer of 1993, but I made sure to go into toy stores anyway, even though I wasn't collecting toys anymore, because it becomes a ritual. When you were really into toys, you just go back to the toy store every time you're at a retail center. Or when you're at the mall, you go to KB. You know how it goes. So I would get real familiar with all the toys that were on sale, even though I was a freshman in high school and I wasn't buying toys anymore. And I would always come across the Kenner Jurassic Park toys. I remember them being advertised constantly on TV, and I took a close look at them at the time. I remember most vividly being a little put off by them because I hadn't seen the movie yet, hadn't read the book, and I thought, wow, this looks like a dino slaughterhouse movie. You know, all the dinosaurs have rip-off flesh, and all the action figures are hunting them with vehicles with names like Devil Tracker, and the characters all have these dino hunting paraphernalia, you know, grapple guns and net launchers and just all kinds of crazy stuff. And all of the action figures, you know, they felt like they had gimmicks. You know, they all had Jurassic Park badges and Jurassic Park tattoo marks, the JP tattoo, and they didn't look like the characters in the movie for the most part. You know, Muldoon, I remember, because I finally saw the movie, and I remember thinking, wow, Muldoon doesn't look anything like the actor in the film. So I just kind of stayed away from him for the most part, and, saw the second movie. I really, really loved the Crichton books. I loved the Jurassic Park novel. I had read that before I actually saw the movie, and then I read Lost World when it came out and was very disappointed by the movie version of Lost World. Went and saw Jurassic Park 3. And then I didn't go see Jurassic World. And then I was told that Target had just come out partnering with Mattel, a brand new Jurassic Park line called the Legacy Collection, which was exclusive to Target. And I was like, what is this? I must check this out. I must find out what this is. And so I went into Target, and there they were. Didn't find them all initially. I had to go to a few stores to get them all because toy volumes, as you know, are very low these days. And you have to, you know, go to one store and you'll see 3 figures on a peg, and you hope that those 3 figures are the ones you need, and usually they aren't. But I eventually tracked down most of them. I was actually really impressed. As a person who's into, you know, safari hats, khaki pants, and Jeeps, Jurassic Park speaks to me on a certain level, the original Jurassic Park. I was shocked by how nice the toys actually were. One of the first things I noticed was that it was Mattel making the toys, and they were an extension of their Jurassic World line. Originally, Hasbro had done the first Jurassic World movie toys. They had inherited that license from Kenner, I assume, who did Jurassic Park and Lost World, and I believe Jurassic Park 3, but don't quote me on that. I can't remember specifically. But I guess Hasbro, as with all things they do lately, they mismanaged that property, and Mattel must have won out getting it, or maybe Hasbro ditched it. I don't know. I would assume either Hasbro mismanaged it or ditched it because they just don't know the value of the property, and Mattel picked it up. And one of the first things I noticed is that Mattel opted to do the figures in the 3 3/4 inch scale, which is really cool because that's the scale that I'm most fond of. And it also makes for a good price point. The other thing I noticed about the Mattel line, no expensive electronic gimmicks. You know, these are toys for the sake of being toys. And they are accurate to the movie themselves. Ellie Sattler comes with the big flashlight, and Muldoon comes not only with his hat finally, which Kenner just whiffed on that one, but Muldoon also comes with his shotgun. And then Alan Grant comes with a flare pistol, which I didn't put in his hand because he has a flare in the movie, not a flare pistol. My understanding is that they're making an Ian Malcolm for this line soon, and he will have a flare, which is cool. The Jeep, for example, is not electronic. It's just a standard Jeep that you put your action figures in. It has a winch on the front, and you go play. It's a really great line, and all of those simplicities make it affordable. You know, that's what's really cool, is that these figures, by today's standards, are very affordable. There's a lot of playability. They're very posable, but at the same time, they're not limited or compromised in any way by modern garbage. It's a return to a simpler form, but with modern sculpting, which I think is really cool. There's two ways to get Alan Grant. You can get him in a single pack with one of those little green dinosaurs from the beginning of Lost World. I can't ever pronounce the name of it, so I'm not even going to try. Or you can get him in this kind of Legacy Collection Beast Pack, which comes with all of the major dinosaurs from the original Jurassic Park minus the Triceratops. So it comes with 2 raptors, it comes with Dilophosaurus and Gallimimus, which is pretty neat. And then the nice thing is that the raptors are different colors, so from the single pack raptor. So if you get the Beast Pack and then you get the single pack raptor, then you have 3 individually colored raptors that can hunt in a pack. You have 2 choices for the Tyrannosaurus. You have a smaller Tyrannosaurus, which arguably they would say is in scale better with the figures in the Jeep, and it makes like a noise when you push its tail down. It roars and opens its mouth, and it's, electronic Tyrannosaurus. Or you can get this guy right here, which I know he's wildly out of scale with the other toys, technically speaking, but the great thing about this toy is that it is everything we wanted our Rancor monster to be when we were kids. No electronics, no rubbery skin, he's hard plastic, but the whole thing about this toy is that he is an eating tunnel. So anything you can fit in his mouth goes all the way through into his stomach, and then you can open up his undercarriage and everything comes spilling out, which is where the Rancor monster failed to meet expectations. I've seen photographs of this thing that some people have done with the Jeep, and when you put them together, it's pretty cool. I mean, I know that technically speaking, his head shouldn't be bigger than the Jeep itself, but I don't care. I mean, this thing, it's the most fun I've had with a modern toy probably ever. I love this thing. I'm thinking about taking it back to my office at work at some point and just making it like my office mascot, because I mean, look at him. He's huge. He's awesome. I mean, he doesn't do anything overly sophisticated, and he doesn't need to. He's just great. That's what a toy should be, is just great because it's great, It's honest. That's what I like about it. This toy is honest. They even call it something like the Colossal T-Rex or something. They're like, this is a big hunk of plastic that eats your other toys. If you can fit it in its mouth, it can swallow it. I just think that's what a toy should be. I'm tired of all this, force link and, activate this with your app and make mini movies with your smartphone and all this kind of stuff. I feel like that's overselling. Now, there is a gimmick with these toys electronically, but it seems more educational than anything else. And, I applaud that, even though I won't be using it. On the bottom of every dinosaur's foot is a little scan tag that you can take a picture of with a smartphone, and then it will take you to a website where it will tell you facts about that dinosaur, which I think is admirable. I mean, for a kid, kids are way into dinosaurs. I wasn't, but a lot of kids were and still are, and so that's really useful. But as far as the Jurassic Park movie is concerned, this is the ultimate toy line to have, and I hope they keep building on it, because Ellie looks correct, Alan Grant looks correct, Muldoon looks correct, they're in the right outfits, their face sculpts look great, even her hair looks good. Their hips are a little wonky to give them more articulation, and I know that they're not the most attractive hips necessarily, but if you get caught up in something like that, then I guess you focus on super realism, and I guess if you want that kind of realism, you really need to consider your stance on 5 points of articulation, because then you can sculpt the figure to look more like a proportionate human being. But in this case, they have to sit in the Jeep and do all that kind of stuff like a G.I. Joe did back in the day, and so they've given them the articulation to do that, which is really awesome. I'm really hoping that this Legacy collection continues. I'm not that interested in the other Jurassic Park movies, honestly. I didn't find them to be very good. And my whole thing is that original Jurassic Park with Alan Grant and the Jeep and Muldoon and, all that stuff. Because much like Highlander, I feel like Jurassic Park is a one and done concept. Even now, everybody's joking, why are you going back to this island? Why are you going back to this dangerous park over and over again? Oh my God, why are you building another park after what happened originally? That would never happen. And even with this new sequel, they're saying, wait a minute, Jurassic World, we saw what happened at the park that day or that week or whatever it was. I didn't see it, but I've seen people making the same argument about Jurassic World 2 that we made about, Lost World and Jurassic Park 3. Why are we going back there? And in all these movies, even the characters are saying, why are we going back here? There's nothing but death and despair. There's nothing but trouble. And they're right, which is why Jurassic Park Part 1 is really the only legit one in my mind. There can be only one. And I'm glad it's getting recognized on toy aisles. So if you have a mind and you like Jurassic Park, I know these aren't vintage, which might shock you. Some people have been saying, well, Michael, you're buying a modern set of toys. That's almost sacrilege to you. And I said, not really. And they're like, but you said that you would never review modern again. You said move along. And I pointed out, I said, no, I said modern Star Wars. I'm not buying any more modern Star Wars. I've already reviewed that. But this is not Star Wars. And it's also a toy line from a movie where the merchandising hasn't quite done it justice yet. One day I will be doing a Kenner Jurassic Park vintage review. Not now, but I will. And we'll talk about that line. But in the meantime, these are the first Jurassic Park toys that I've ever bought. And right off the bat, if they would just make, a few more of the characters like Malcolm and Nedry and Richard Attenborough, maybe the kids, if they'd make a few more of those, maybe even the lawyer with the outhouse and the park, the park headquarters itself, which I know that's asking a lot. But if they would make those and maybe the Ford Explorer, I think we'd have a winning line here. Oh, and the Triceratops. We definitely need a Triceratops. I think it would be a winning line that would be very well received for both Mattel and Target. So Mattel, if you're listening to me, you're knocking it out of the park on this one. Well done. Please keep going with the Legacy Collection. Target, please continue to support it. If you come out with new Legacy stuff, I will continue to support it. This is just a great, simple toy line, and it's accurate to the movie. So I'm rambling now, and I'm going to sign off. But thanks for watching this, and we will see you on the next video.